Hello, this video will be going over the Gaia's Blessing loop. There's no Titans in this deck. Usually you'll find this tech in budget lists, and there's also some niche scenarios where you can circumvent an Anafenza, the Foremost, but usually we just don't like it. It's a bit... I wouldn't say it's slow, it's just complicated, and there's some other things that can go along with that. This particular list is my $50 hyper budget Gitrog, but you can put this in a higher power deck as well. It's perfectly fine there. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment or join the Discord. I'm pretty much always there, except when I'm asleep, but that doesn't happen often. So this has the same game plan as the full list. You want the Gitrog monster on the field, a discard outlet as well, Putrid Imp in this case, and Dakmor Salvage in hand. This particular scenario, I want a black open, but if you have Lotus Petal in your deck, then you don't need the starting black available. I have a few cards that are set aside. Normally these would be in the library and then in your hand afterwards, after the Dakmor part. But in this case, it's just so hard to get them out of the library while doing this in the Moxfield playtest area, so I just have them separated. They wouldn't normally be in exile. So to start, obviously, everything's here. Black mana is available. We're going to start by discarding and dredging Dakmor. We discard it to Putrid Imp, and a draw trigger is generated from the Gitrog monster, and we substitute that draw trigger with Dredge 2, milling the top two cards, no lands, so we just repeat a land. This means that a new draw trigger is generated, which we put on the stack, and continue. Two more, no lands, no lands. A land, oops. So now we have two draw triggers on the stack, and then we hit Gaia's Blessing. When this is milled, shuffle our library, same as Titans. Essentially, we continue this. If you know about the normal Gitrog list with Titans, then this is the same process. We put the draw triggers on the stack. We continue looping. Whenever we hit Gaia's Blessing, we shuffle our graveyard into our library, and then continue discarding and dredging Dakmor, generating draw triggers. And we continue generating draw triggers until we have enough to draw our entire library. So we just wait until the next time we shuffle, then we shuffle, and draw all the cards. I'm going to separate Gaia's Blessing so that I don't have to do this later. I'm actually going to move all of my library to the graveyard because I can't put it directly into hand, but essentially you'd have all these in your you'd do this after you shuffle, so you'd have all these in your library, and you'd have like 100 plus draw triggers, and you draw all of them. Now we have them all in hand. Let me just separate Dakmor so I don't have to look through this. This is why I separated them all, because come on. So now that we have everything in our hand, we're going to go ahead and continue generating infinite draw triggers, and then we're going to convert that into infinite life with Golgari Brownscale, which is right here. As you can see, when Golgari Brownscale is put into your hand from your graveyard, so whenever you dredge it, you gain 2 life. However, it doesn't generate a draw trigger, unlike Dakmor, so you need draw triggers to start looping this instead of Dakmor. So we're gonna, all these cards would be in our hand. I'm actually gonna put them down here-ish, just so I have easy access to them. Just like that. Sorry, OCD people, it's whatever. So we discard Gaia's Blessing, and now when you discard it, it doesn't shuffle itself, unlike Titans, which can be a pain. But in this case, we cast Noxious Revival for 2 life with the Phyrexian mana, targeting Gaia's Blessing, putting it back on top of our library. This goes into our graveyard. Now we have it in our library and we can mill it again. So we also discard a land and then a non-land. And this is just to fix the draws. And then when we discarded this land, a new draw trigger was generated, and we discard Graveshell Scarab, and then replace that draw with Dredge 1, milling Gaia's Blessing. Now we shuffle... Yeah, sorry about that. I was just double checking something. Now we shuffle all 4 cards into our library. Let me go shuffle. And we just discard and dredge Dakmor. Mill 2, a land, so a new draw trigger is generated. We put that on the stack and we continue. Gaia's Blessing, shuffle. And we repeat that for infinite draws. Because every time that land is milled, we get a draw trigger. And then we can just draw all 4. Or actually, no, we don't draw all 4. Sorry. Here, with those draw triggers, we replace Dakmor with Golgari Brownscale, and we start dredging, shuffling, etc. Whenever the land is milled first, a new draw trigger is generated, but, you know, like half the time or something like that, you won't hit the land first, you'll hit Gaia's Blessing, so you lose draw trigger, you net lose draw triggers here, but you just infinitely repeat that until you have only 4 draw triggers left, infinite life now, no more infinite draw triggers, and then you draw all 4. There we go. Alright, so now that we have infinite life, we can proceed to turning that life into infinite mana and then infinite spells. And now we needed that life because Noxious Revival costs 2 life every time we use it. And if we're to loop anything with Gaia's Blessing, then we'll be casting that over and over every loop iteration, and that means we'll be losing 2 life every time, and, well, you can kill yourself, just like that. But with infinite life, obviously, you won't. So we're gonna discard Gaia's Blessing now, and then cast Noxious Revival for 2 life, targeting it, putting it on top of our library. And then, this time, instead of discarding a land and a non-land, we're gonna cast Dark Ritual with this 1 black we had open, and then we're going to discard a land. Now, there's a new draw trigger. We go ahead and discard and dredge Graveshell Scarab, milling Gaia's Blessing, and shuffle. Now we have 4 cards in our library. You always want an even amount whenever you're doing one of these loops, because you can only dredge 2 with Dakmor, so otherwise, I mean, Gaia's Blessing could be the last card, and that's a pain. Now we just discard and dredge Dakmor, stacking draw triggers and shuffling when necessary, until we get 4 draw triggers. So after we get 4, so let me just demonstrate that, and it's not letting me move things. Alright, 1 sec. Okay, there we go. So mill 2 with discarding and dredging Dakmor, no lands, land, and shuffle. Put the draw trigger on the stack. We have 1 draw trigger available. Shuffle, draw trigger, shuffle, and we just repeat that, yeah, for 4 draw triggers, and then after the shuffle, we shuffle and we resolve all 4, bringing all 4 back into our hand. And then we repeat. Back to step 1, discarding Gaia's Blessing and casting Noxious Revival, targeting it, right? And we're going to repeat this. Obviously, every loop we're casting Noxious Revival, losing 2 life, gaining 3 mana, or 2 mana technically, through Dark Ritual. We get infinite mana just like that. Once you have infinite mana, you can cast Blood Celebrant and use that infinite life and infinite mana to like turn half of it into green from black, and then you can loop something like Beast Within to destroy all opponents' cards, and then there's another card in here somewhere, or not necessarily Beast Within. If you're at like a higher budget level, then you can cast something like Assassin's Trophy and just destroy all the permanents. And then if you really want, you can kill all the beasts with that are generated with Noxious Revival, but you know, whatever, who needs that? You don't actually need to do that part. Like, you don't need Blood Celebrant or Beast Within unless something on the board is threatening you, or stopping you from doing something or the other. But what we would normally do after looping Dark Ritual is we go ahead and replace Dark Ritual with Ebony Charm in the loop, and every time you cast this, obviously, an opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1, so you're killing them. And you just target each opponent, etc., etc. They take infinite damage, and you win. That's just the basic stuff. I'm the Gitrog Pancake. If you want anything specific to be made or remade, feel free to leave a comment, or even come to the Discord and ask me. I'll be leaving a link to that Discord in the description, as well as a link to this budget primer in the description. Check out my Moxfield profile if you want, and don't forget to like and subscribe, though you're not obligated to. That's up to you. Thank you.